Hello everyone, welcome back to our discussion on class aves. And in this session we are going to see the second subclass of class aves, which is Neonitis. And we earlier said that this is divided into two superorders, Paleognathae and Neognathae. So first we are going to see subclass Neornithes, which includes the present day birds. So we in the first session we'll be discussing about the superorder or the first division coming under Neornithes, which is Paleognathae or Ratitae. So these are flightless birds, and you can see many examples of flightless birds which are given here. So you can see this one is rhea, this one is ostrich, then the fowl or the hen, wild fowl. This one is emu. This one is our kiwi and penguin. So these are the main examples coming under. There are many other birds also like duck, etc., which are coming under flightless birds. There are many. So I have just listed some of them here. So the salient features of this particular group, which is the flightless birds or Paleognathae, or also called as Ratitae, they are flightless and running birds. Their wings are reduced and the pectoral muscles are poorly developed, and that is an adaptation because they do not fly. They do not have teeth on their jaws. The feathers do not show an interlocking mechanism. Always the feathers will be more or like fluffy. When you compare with the normal flying birds, you can see that flying birds, their feathers are very smooth. It will be like oil which is laid on all the feathers. All the feathers will be kept very smoothly with the help of the oil. But in this case, the flightless birds, you can see that always the feathers will be dry and fluffy, etc., which is because of the lack of this interlocking mechanism and also the absence of the oil gland. The sternum lack a keel because they do not fly. The caudal vertebra are free. The pygostyle is small or absent. That is the fusion which is seen in normal birds, which is the flying birds, are absent in this case. The clavicles are absent or small. That means a V-shaped furcula is absent in them. The males have a copulatory organ in flightless birds. The syrinx is absent. The young ones, when hatched, are covered with feathers. This is also another main feature of flightless birds or Paleognathae. The young ones, when they come out itself, they will have normal feathers like that of the adult. And because of that, but when you compare it with the normal flying birds, you can see that their feathers will be they will not be entirely covered with feathers, or the feathers might be not like the adult one. But in this case, young ones will be completely covered with the feathers. And they also show the young ones of the group which is called as Ratitae. They do not depend on their parents to feed. Soon after they come out of the egg or hatch from the egg, they start feeding by themselves. And this particular feature is called as precocious young ones. Precocious in the sense they do not depend on their parents for food. After hatching itself, they start feeding, or they start not feeding, they start to hunt, or they start to feed by or find their food by themselves. They do not depend on their parents. So these are the salient features of this particular group, which is called as Ratitae or Paleognathae. The main features are the feathers do not have an interlocking mechanism, oil glands are absent. So what are the essential features for a flying bird is absent in this case. Sternum is not there, the fused burnt pygostyle is not there. Then another important feature is the absence of, or the presence of, the copulatory organ in males. And coming to the young ones, they are precocious in nature. That means they do not depend on their parents. So coming to the example of Neornithes, the example is the example of superorder Paleognathae or Ratitae is Struthio or ostrich. Ostrich commonly, or Struthio, which is oftenly called as ostrich. Scientifically, it is Struthio camellus. It is largest of all existing birds. It inhabits Africa and Asia. The main feature is what is shown here, that is, it is having two toes which are heavily clawed. It has only two claws in its hind limb, which is heavily clawed. You can see it here. They are having only two toes and it is heavily clawed, and the foot is hoof-like, which is more or less similar to that of camel. And they have the ability, and because of these feature, they are having the ability to move swiftly or quickly on loose soil. They are swift runners. The beak is short and depressed. It is more or less broad. It is short and depressed. The head is small and neck is naked. That you can see here. The head is compared to the body, the head is small, and the neck is naked in the sense it does not have any feathers which covers the neck. And another feature is the wings are spread like balancers while running, that you can see here. When when ostriches run, they expand they spread their wings like this, and they act as balancers. And another feature is they can live without water for a longer time. So these are the main features of this particular group, which is Paleognathae, the first superorder coming under Neonitis. And the example is ostrich. The second superorder coming under the subclass Neonitis is superorder Neognathae, or called as Karnate. The salient features are the salient features are similar to the normal salient features what we discussed in the beginning of the session. So they are flying birds with well-developed wings, with interlocking mechanism. Oil glands are present, which are called as the preen glands. The feathers are arranged in tracts, which are called as the terrillae. Then V-shaped furcula is present. Then the sternum, keel, etc. are present. The ribs have their uncinate process. Then the pygostyle is present, the fused bones of the posterior part of the caudal vertebra. The pectoral muscles are well developed for flight, which was absent in the case of the groups which we discussed earlier. Then oil glands are present. Then males do not have a copulatory organ. This is another feature that is seen or that is shown by Neognathae. Paleognathae, they had a copulatory organ for males, but in Neognathae they do not have a copulatory organ. And here the young ones, they are atricial. The other one was precocious, but here it is altricial in the sense the young ones are helpless and require the care for a length of time. So we might have seen in many pictures and videos, the parents, they feed their young ones for a longer time till they have the ability to fly. But in Paleognathae, we said that the young ones do not depend on their parents and they are precocious. So here it is altricial, means they depend on the parents for a period of time till they attain flight. Coming to the example of this particular group, which is Neognathae, or the superorder Neognathae or Karnate, and it is Haliaster indus, which is commonly called as a Brahminicite. So they have all the adaptations for of a flying bird, and the major features of this particular Haliaster indus is that the head, neck, and breast are pure white in color. The tail is rounded, which you can see the rounded. It is not forked or pointed. It is more or less rounded, as you see in this particular picture. Both the sexes are similar. You cannot differentiate morphologically male and female. They, in the sense the color, etc. And both male and female share the domestic duties. That means parental care, etc. is shared by both males as well as females. So with this, we are coming to the end of classification of class aves. So in classification, we discussed about the two subclasses coming under this. The first one was the Paleorhynthus, and the other one was the Neornithes. And in that subclass Neornithes, we discussed about the two superorders. The first one was superorder Paleognathae or Ratitae, and the other one was superorder Neognathae, which are flying birds. The Paleognathae was flightless birds, and this one is flying birds. So with this, we come to the end of discussion of classification of aves. So in the next session, we'll be discussing on the adaptations, or the flight adaptations of aves. Thanks for hearing.